don't hit home runs in this podcast. We work station to station. I'm back with my battery mate, as always, Dustin, and Liz, fresh from some fishing, is going to join us today too. And we're just going to talk about some trade deadline stuff. I guess some recent happenings in Jays land while the trade deadline approaches. Dustin, did you catch any of today's game at all?
Not today, no. I mean, afternoon games while I'm working, it's hard to catch up. But checking in on the score, I was like, well, not really a very exciting game to have watched. But I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I'm more sort of focused on the surrounding things than the game to game. I've jumped off the roller coaster that we're usually on, where we're excited for every win and depressed after every loss. I'm sort of just accepted the team as it is and looking forward to the trade deadline and some eventual sort of front office rejigging that, cross my fingers, is happening sooner than later.
I had a hot take there. I miss baseball math. Usually at this time of the season, I'm doing math every day. So much math. As I think there's a Simpson quote from Malibu Barbie that says, "I can't do math. I'm just a girl." And that is true to a certain extent for me. So I missed that. I was at the game on, what day is today? Today's Thursday? Yeah. I was at the game on yesterday, on the Wednesday. That was a rare gem of the season. Things happened. We got runs scored. We got somebody dropped the ball, so we scored from, there's a wild pitch, and we scored from third. It was a blast. It was a rare, fun game to be at this season. I did not go to today's game because I went fishing. And I don't regret that. But I had as much luck as the Jays did, which is, I think they got 0 runs today, and I had 0 fish. But I also didn't lose 12 fish, okay? I also didn't lose 12 fish.
You didn't have 12 fish on the hook that jumped
No,
out?
I didn't do that. And, Ernie Clement was not fishing for me at any point of the day.
Well, speaking of Ernie, Dustin, I know you didn't watch the game. I caught the end of it. I was listening while working, and then I caught the end of the game. And, of course, they're up 12-0, so they trottled Ernie out. And Ernie's throwing some 55-mile-an-hour knuckleballs, and I don't know. I always, at first, I think he was trying to throw some fastballs or some. He was trying to throw something at first, but then he just started to throw this steady diet of knuckleballs, and I think everybody was completely amused by this. And I don't know, one of those small moments that in baseball that kind of puts a smile on my face, right? Because most guys were getting some contact, and I can't remember who it was at the plate, but he swung and all he got was air, and he just had this grin from ear to ear on his face, whiffing on this 55-mile-an-hour Ernie Clement knuckleball.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, let's enjoy some of these little things. I'm sure I'll catch it on the Jays in 30 here tonight or something. But yeah, I mean, these kind of little victories and little moments will be all that we have to remember, because this season hasn't been all that entertaining, to say the least. So let's take our little victories where we can get them, right?
I'm gonna go rogue here. I'm gonna go rogue. What is everyone's favorite moment of the year so far?
It's a tough one.
The silence speaks volume, to be honest.
Probably a Varsho moment. I don't know. One of Varsho's many catches in the outfield, or
when he was
maybe when we were at the game, one of the home runs. I would say that was probably. I just, because any moment you that happens, it's like there's other things surrounding it, other positivity. Like, it's not just that moment, and I feel like any moment that we've had has just been they've cratered right after, right?
My favorite moment of the year. Remember Kevin Kiermaier on Canada Day? I had his jersey unbuttoned just so, and his chains just gleaming in the sun. That's all I got. Yeah.
I was actually going to, I was going to talk about one of your babes, Kevin Kiermaier, this week, announced that he would be retiring after the 2024 season. And I think everyone likes Kevin Kiermaier. I don't know his overall contributions to this franchise, but Justin, do you have any few words for the last, I guess, 3 months of his major league career?
I mean, it's not surprising to hear. I mean, he did come out this preseason and say that nobody else gave him a call except for the Blue Jays. And, rumors came out that, he was put on revocable waivers the other day. And, that's probably writing on the wall for him. And I'm sure he's, after spending I don't know how long he's been in the league, definitely over 10 years. I'm sure that he's not going to want to play in minor leagues and, bust it around. So, it's probably the right move for him. In terms of his legacy as a Blue Jay, I'll probably remember him more for stealing the
Kirk
card. Yeah, Kirk's catcher card or whatever, the at home plate when he was a Ray. So than anything he did for the Blue Jays. But the best Blue Jay moment would probably the catch that he made game 1 last season at home to steal a home run, first stolen home run in the new renovated outfield. And he had a pretty good year last year. So, I mean, he's a good guy. I'll remember him fondly to a certain extent, but, he's definitely, not going to be, it'll be, 10 years down the road, a trivia question, and, oh yeah, Kevin Kiermaier. Yeah, I remember him.
Dustin, you're just wrong. You're going to remember Kevin Kiermaier in your dreams every night. When you don't have Kevin Kiermaier, you're like, oh man, Kevin Kiermaier. What a hunk. I think for me, the Kiermaier legacy is just the way that he heel turned so quickly to be such a hated player, for Jays fans after he stole the Kirk card, to being beloved. I thought was pretty fun to watch. I also really enjoyed, and I remember when last year, we were about to go on the wild card run, and he was just pumping up the team. He was giving wrestling style, manager speeches. It's that's good. He was probably a good clubhouse guy. But he always had kind of one foot out, and good for him. I am sad that he did not get a Gold Glove.
You mean an All-Star?
Hold on, am I wrong? Hold on. How many Gold Gloves does he have? 3?
I think he has 4 now.
Sure, sorry, All-Star. Yeah. Sorry, he's a super Gold Glover. I'm wrong on that one. Sorry, he never made it to the All-Star game ever. The fact that he is not an All-Star was insane. That was it. Sorry.
Oh, is that true? Even with the Rays, he never made.
No. Yeah, he's never made it to an All-Star game.
That is wild.
That was actually the one, I guess, regret is last year. Last year, I remember Dustin and I talking about, who's going to make the All-Star team. And I thought Kiermaier would. And Whit fucking Merrifield made it. And, right? How much better would it have been that Kevin Kiermaier had his only All-Star appearance? He had a good year and he had a really good first half. How amazing would it have been for his only All-Star appearance to be with the Jays? He's going to remember his couple years, I think, fondly anyway, but that would have been the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like the kind of guy that, like Liz said, he's just a guy that's a cheerleader. He'll pump everybody's tires, and he seemed like a very positive guy. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll remember his time very fondly. And yeah, it is kind of strange. In his time with the Rays, I mean, he had some pretty good seasons on some pretty bad teams. It's, as far as I can remember with the Rays, I'm surprised he never made it there. Maybe some injuries or whatever the case may be. Some other people passed him up. Bad teams usually only get one player to send, and sometimes guys like him just end up with the wrong end of the stick.
Do you guys remember when we sent Santiago Espinal to the All-Star game?
Oh my God.
And also, when we sent just a trip down memory lane, we sent Sanchez.
The Sanchez?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? I think it was the year that him and he got called in last minute. Him and Stroman went.
Yeah, he definitely went. I think, I mean, bad teams sometimes send kind of mediocre players. Every team's got to have one. I mean, when you don't have a consensus, Vladdy to send every year, then those are the kinds of guys you get.
Well, Dustin and I were musing about, if Vladdy didn't get voted in by the fans, who is the all-star? Obviously it's Vladdy, right? And he's in the last few weeks he's playing incredible. But when that first came out, there's not really any other all-stars. Like, that was kind of the easy way to give a bad team, popular player, bad team. There you go. There's your representative. We don't need any of this other trash here.
Yeah, I mean, the only other guy would have been, if he was healthy, Jimmy Garcia, who had been playing fairly well first half of the season.
I like it. I like it when it's clear. And like, man, the MLB wanted Vladdy there. They kept putting in ads really like, vote for Vladdy.
Of course. I mean, he's the face of the MLB The Show game. I think here in Toronto, like, we kind of take him for granted, but he's one of the more popular players in the league right now. Outside of Toronto. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise at all.
So, trade deadline approaching, and we have about, 6 players who are all out of contract next year, and we've been waiting for the first shoe to drop. It has not as of yet, and I just wanted to talk about, like, we know that some of these players are going to get traded. I don't know if all of them are, but between Kiermaier, Kikuchi, Justin Turner, Danny Jansen, Trevor Richards, and Yimi Garcia, who do we see moving off?
Not Kiermaier. I think Kiermaier will, as he's retiring next year, will not be.
Yeah, I don't think
deadline.
he's. Yeah.
I think Yimi for sure. Yimi's going. I've said this a few times, and Danny's going because I do not want him to go. I would be very annoyed when they move him. I think IKF. That's my hot take.
Really?
Off the board pick?
Yeah, that would be surprising to me. But it's a possibility. I mean, who knows what they're going to do? To me, I definitely agree with Jimmy Garcia. I think Kikuchi's going to go. Those are I think, like, if we had to create a tier list, those are like the top tier most likely to go. The next tier down, I think, would be, like you're saying, Danny Jansen. Although I'm hesitant about him because, like, who else did the Blue Jays have to, like, catch, right? So if they want to, I get the feeling they want to try and compete next year. So I feel like they would try and keep and re-sign Danny Jansen. But it's a possibility.
He was on the chips to move. That's my thing. And, like, here's the thing, as I go rogue again. Like, are they competing? Is there a chance that they could compete next year? I'm really afraid that they are not going to go all in on this trade, like, on the rebuild. They're going to go half in, and it's going to be like the Angels a few years ago when they sort of didn't deal Ohtani and they didn't make it a good run out of anything.
Yeah, they're not going to rebuild. I mean, we were saying it. I was saying it a couple podcasts ago before the draft. I thought that the way they approached the draft would kind of indicate what's going to happen. They drafted college pitchers, like guys that are really going to be ready to be in the majors within a year or two. That indicates that they're really just kind of short-term thinking. They're not thinking about a long-term kind of like goal, because why would Ross Atkins think long-term at all if he's thinking he's likely going to be fired this year, and even if he does have one more year, I mean, that's it, like one more year for sure. So that on the trade deadline, what that tells me on the trade deadline is let's get rid of whatever we can for whoever we can, right? Get rid of like your short-term this is the last season, expiring contracts, as it were. Maybe you can deal some of the guys that are on 2, like you're saying, IKF is a maybe there, but and then maybe Bo Bichette. There's been some rumors and some reports out there. I don't know how believable they are, but because Nightingale is not, my most trusted source of information, but it's certainly a possibility that Bo would go, because I'm sure he's going to want to test free agency anyways. But, for me, that's the only other people would be like Justin Turner. But what are you going to get for him? I mean, and like you said, Kiermaier, if you can eat some money and get, a lottery ticket, those are the kind of people that I see going. Otherwise, it's not going to be, like you said, like it's not going to be a fire sale. Let's reload. Let's like get everything and go for it in 2027. It's going to be little tweaks and then try and get under the what's it called? The salary,
the luxury tax threshold,
luxury tax limit this year for the end of the year, so that they can spend that much more next season and try and push for a 2025 something.
Well, I'm thinking all the pitchers are going to go. Kikuchi for sure. I would think Jimmy Garcia would, and Trevor Richards had some value too. As much as I think they should probably look to deal Danny Jansen, again, last year of his contract, I don't know. I think he's hanging around, and I think his time with the club is I think he's got some money in the bank, and I think they'll keep him around. And then we'll see if they want to sign him in the off season. I'm kind of interested to see where everything is taken, but I'm with you, Liz. Like, is this team really going to compete? Well, I think they're going to try to give us the mirage that they are trying to compete, especially those people buying those luxury boxes, right? But will they actually compete? Not after what I saw this season.
I don't know. And like, I can't see the way forward. Like, I can't be like, oh, this is the obvious move, right? I mean, they may deal Vladdy if the offers are good enough and they can pull like a Soto style trade. They should do that.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I'd rather just sign him. He's.
I agree with you. I want to keep Vladdy too, but I can't like 100% be like they're gonna like. I can't foresee that like they're gonna sign Vladdy 100%. They're gonna build the team around Vladdy, and we're gonna be competing the next year. I don't know. It's not. It's a hope. It's just a wish rather than a plan. I see.
Yeah, and that's probably a safe bet. Like, yeah, I'm not saying that they're going to be successful if they just do this little tweak and whatever you call it, a reload or a reset. Like, I don't know if that's going to be successful. Like, I don't necessarily trust this brain trust to do that. I mean, I think Ross Atkins can probably do these little deals, but this off season they need to get rid of him, get somebody in that can do something, and then maybe trade Bo Bichette in the off season. That I can see that happening more likely than trading him now.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I'm upset that, I mean, the thing with Bo, it's been said before, is we know he's injured, he's not been performing the best this season. I think, again, he's got either 4 or 5 home runs this season. It's not been a big one for our guy Bo. He still has value just from being Bo Bichette.
Yeah, but like right now his value is like the lowest that it's been.
That the Bo Bichette's been. Yeah, it's just on futures, like potential value, not like, yeah, this guy is the AL, hits leader.
So maybe he can turn it around here and have a Bo Bichette September like he's had in the past, and then maybe he's a little more valuable on the off season. But you're not wrong. Like, he's still got that ceiling value that he's shown that he can do what he can do, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that that can dream on that and will buy into that.
Well, a Bo Bichette September will definitely help that, Dustin.
Yeah, absolutely.
I worry that if this, his struggles continue for the rest of the season, and then they want to deal him, and then what they're getting offered back is just not anything substantial, and then he ends up just staying, right? And then you just have the two playing out their contracts next year. Buffalo boys obviously are getting lots of time. I wanted to see what you guys thought about who of these Buffalo boys are going to feature in the Blue Jays' future versus maybe not.
Yeah, I'm going to start because we all know the answer. Horowitz for sure, right? Like, what a delight that's been. Schneider's having a hard time, but like, I think that's what happens sometimes in baseball. I hope he's like gets out of it. I think he'll play a role. I don't know about it's Addison. Addison. I don't know about Addison. He rolled up, didn't produce much. Ernie's going to be there. I want to see Ernie play. Ernie's just, I don't know. I feel like I really enjoy watching him play. Apparently he can throw a knuckleball. That's fun. Like that. But I'm not really sure if Addison's going to be there. Who else is in our Buffalo Lads lineup?
Leo Jimenez, the shortstop.
Yeah, how's he doing? So, what's your take on him?
Well, last time when he came up, we were kind of holding judgment. I think he's just going to play his way into being Bo's replacement. That just seems to be the obvious kind of path. And they were talking about Bo coming back and where is Leo Jimenez going to play, and because they want him they want to get him reps at the major league level, and you got IKF who can play short, and I guess Ernie can moonlight a little bit out there, but I think he's going to be Bo's replacement. And will he be as good as Bo Bichette? Probably not, but I don't know. I think he seems significantly better than Bo, so from that perspective, probably an upgrade. But I guess it's the unknown of the offense. Is it there?
Yeah, it's whether or not you're gonna be able to get somebody, in free agency to come up and be better than him. Shortstops are not a dozen, so I can see Jimenez be one of those Buffalo boys, along with, as you said, Spencer Horwitz, Ernie Clement, Davis Schneider. I'm on the fence. I mean, he's looked absolutely atrocious lately.
Dalton Varsho at the plate with his average.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. So we'll see. I think there's probably a lot of outfielders on the free agent market you can find that'll kind of bump him out of a play, out of a spot if he doesn't turn it around here. I don't know who else. I mean, there may be some surprises. What's his name? He's not on the team right now, but he was up for a little bit. Second baseman.
No, there's the outfielder that came out last time with a B. He caught some stuff. I really like that recently. Sounded like Barrios, but it wasn't.
Oh, Stuart Baroa or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super impressed by him.
Well, I think you touched on it, Liz, off the top, but I don't think Spencer Horwitz is getting enough praise for what he's doing. He's hitting in the Bo Bichette number 2 slot. He's hitting over 300 every time I turn on the TV or sit down. Maybe if I catch a game late, multi-hit games. He always has one hit. Today I think he was. I sat down. He's 1 for 3, and he gets a walk, so he's getting on base, and the whole being able to play second base, I think just opens up a lot, right? And he doesn't seem to be a hole, right, or anything like that. Like, he's not a sieve out there at second base. And if you can get, it might be if Bo does get traded, might be a rough go of it next year when you have your infield of Horwitz and Jimenez, but maybe there's something there for the future too, as we watch them develop.
I don't know. I'm of the school that we're gonna rebuild. I'm cool with watching guys we're paying $600,000 scramble it out in the field in the meantime, rather than our supposedly star crew just not produce.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence and joy in me to kind of hear that kind of lineup. And I mean, on the pitching side too, I mean, we're gonna probably lose Kikuchi. Barrios has been bad the last 3 or 4 games. I'm sure he'll figure it out. But with Manoah, probably out all next season. There's not a whole lot of depth there at starting pitching, so that looks like it's going to be tough to kind of fill Kikuchi unless we can kind of trade him and then re-sign him in the offseason. He seems to like it here, so I'll be hopeful for that. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of roles to fill this offseason. And it's not looking like it's going to be super competitive unless they knock one out of the park.
I want to remind you of the time I was in taking the subway, and I was like looking at the signs the Blue Jays had in I think it was 2017 or 2018. The guys on the signs in the subways for the big Toronto Blue Jays posters, it was Randall Grichuk and Kevin Pillar. Like, those were our poster boys for the team. Like, that was the drought in which we were living in. And I'm kind of not ready to go back there. Yeah.
I feel like it's somewhat of a man-made drought, if given that it's 2017 and that's that's what, a year or so into the Shackins era. But I don't know, the early Shackins era. I remember I used to argue with Dustin all the time. This is one of our favorite kind of stories from the past. But like all the time, I was like, you can at least try to win. Like, at least give us something, and it was like they were just anybody of value out the door, right? Like let's just clean this slate. And it was just everyone, and like I don't know, I think we'll see the next couple years.
They turned it around pretty quickly. I mean, 2016 was one of the oldest teams we had on, like, I've ever seen. I mean, I'm surprised they weren't out there with wheelchairs and, like, walking canes. And then 2017 sucked. 2018 wasn't that great either. But 19, 20, 21, then those were good years, and they turned it around.
Dustin, who gave us those good years? Was it Shackins? Was it no? Hey, like Alex. Hey, that was the system. Well, I mean, that was a system that was there when he got there.
Vladdy was signed before he was not an Atkins pickup. I believe Bo was the first year, and we kind of talked about this.
Bo was a Shackins.
Yeah, he was, but there was as you said, Dustin, the old scouting director was still around.
Yeah, but Atkins, we've talked about Atkins not being good at signing or at drafting and developing, but he signed Hyunjin Ryu, he signed George Springer. He brought a lot of. He basically made Toronto somewhere that big guys wanted to sign and come here. I mean, he put together some pretty good teams that brought us back to the playoffs, even though they were 1 and out every year. But I'm not saying that they've done a bang up job. I mean, I've given my share of criticism, but I think they didn't deserve the criticism you were giving them in 2017. So
maybe I just saw the future, right, Dustin. Maybe I just saw the future. I don't know, like atmosphere and intangible things, I do think matter, right? And talking with obviously talking with fellow fans, talking with Liz, right, she's met and dealt with this front office.
They are not
and
cool.
There's like nothing about it. There's nothing about it that gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling. It just doesn't. It doesn't at all. And that shit flows downhill, right? So you could say, maybe that starts with Rogers, right? You could say that. But I would say at the end of the day, like that the vibes around the team, like that starts with Shackins, right? Like that fucking banner out there with "We made the playoffs." Great.
That's gross.
You made the fucking playoffs, right? I made it to work on time yesterday, right? Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? Like, and I know you were trying to downplay it, doesn't, but like, if you want a winning mentality, right? Like, you have to act like it, right? And that is fucking bullshit. I hate that banner. I want to rip it down every time I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend the banner.
Well, but apparently it was they had individual banners though, and then they consolidated them to one.
That's Bush League stuff. So other teams do that crap.
Oh, I knew they had the individual banners. I was mad about the individual banners.
Yeah, and now they have it consolidated to like one shit banner,
consolidate.
Right? Like, anyway.
It's just like, playoffs in this year to this year or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they tried. They gave the old college try.
Yeah, good job.
I'm going to the game on Friday. I think it's Stupid Hat Night. It is the worst giveaway I've ever seen. The Jays giveaway.
Oh, is it the Caribbean Carnival?
It's Caravana Hat Night, where they used, I don't know, some kind of Arial font maybe. This says Blue Jays. They didn't even put our hats are awesome because they put a bird on it. Like, that's sick. This just says in black font, Blue Jays.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Yeah,
Womp
no,
womp.
the giveaways are not very impressive at all.
The giveaways are, I don't know. I think they're this year, even with City Connect, giveaways been
So
lacking.
it's been bad,
from
yeah.
what I've seen.
I mean, you guys were there for Chippy Dippy Bowl Night.
But you know what? You'll still get a million people. You'll still get a million people, lining up at 4:30 to get whatever shit that they're slinging, right?
Yeah, that is what's going to happen.
Anyway, well, thank you both for joining me. Dustin, you want to plug social media?
Yeah, you can follow us on X at Station 2 Pod, and you can email us at station2pod@gmail.com.
Sweet. I'm going to plug the hate within your own hearts of this management in front office, and just to keep praying and hoping that, hopefully somebody gets fired and that we can have somebody building a team that we believe in. I'm plugging that.
Everyone go there and do that.
Go there.
Well, we are waiting for a firing. That's like as soon as the firing happens, Liz, I will be messaging you because that I know you've wanted blood for a few months now.
Man, I just want something different. I just want to, it doesn't matter, if we get new players or not. We're still stuck in this, Bermuda Triangle of, non-winning.
And actually, before we go, do you feel like you're being lulled into this, like you're just numb? It's so weird. And
yeah, it's from being gaslit for so long. We want to keep our guys. We believe in our guys. We tip our hat for our guys. Nobody once said, hey, well, you know what? It didn't work out the way we wanted it to, and we're sorry, and we're going to try harder. That would have been cool.
Well, and there's all these hurdles, right? So it's like we thought John Schneider might get fired at the end of May, right? And then they had that little, little stretch that kind of bridged them to June. And then it was like, well, June's going to be, they're going to get destroyed. And then, well, all of our predictions kind of went out the window. And then now people definitely want Atkins fired. And I'm right at the front of that procession. But I feel like there's a kind of just this sense of like, well, what can we do? Right. Like, and I'm worried that it's like, we're not going to be mad enough at the end. Like we've squeezed out. No, you don't. Okay, good. You're reassuring me. But I was worried that we'd squeezed out the sponge and we'd have nothing left to burn them at the stake at the end of the year.
They call July and August the dog days for a reason. People just kind of, they're true. Kids are off school. I'm enjoying my summer. Every other weekend I'm doing, at the beach and this place and that place. And I'm I'm one of the biggest Blue Jays fans there, you could be, I'm certainly not the biggest, but I mean, even I'm watching the recaps and, missing, a third of the games, and not watching a lot in the summer. But once the kids are back in school and I've got nothing to do,
the hate mail starts.
And I'm watching it's going to remind me of how and once October comes and the Blue Jays aren't in there and we got nothing to watch except some other teams play and celebrate and other fans get excited. Yeah, don't worry. The hatred will be there.
All right, good. This is very reassuring to me because I was feeling just lulled into this sleepy kind of, oh, all right, this team sucks and nothing's gonna happen and no one's gonna get fired and it's gonna be the same next year and
please no.
Well, okay, so do you think Atkins is gonna get fired? I know Dustin says yes. Do you think Atkins is gonna get fired this offseason, Liz?
I can't. I think it should happen, but I just can't see it unless Shapiro goes too.
This is what I'm thinking now, right? I'm starting to be of the mind that yes, this should happen, right? Probably should have happened last year, but I have a feeling that Shapiro's gonna he's gonna dig his heels in, and he's gonna let this slide to the next year, and then if he lets it slide, I think because his contract is up at the end of next year, so maybe they're both gone, and you know what? Maybe whenever everyone gets their wish, I don't know. Well, thank you guys for joining me.